Joining me on the telecast. Meanwhile, more news coming in. BrahMos Aerospace has confirmed that the cost of the BrahMos supersonic cruise missile is expected to drop by around 20% over the next 18 to 24 months. Officials have stated that the reduction will come as India increases indigenous content and reduces dependence on imported Russian components. The move is also expected to make the missile more competitive in the global export market, strengthening India's defense manufacturing capabilities. All right, so that's the latest. We are getting to know the fact that this is a huge development in terms of the defense boost. And when we're talking about the indigenous defense push in Bharat, we have seen that the fact that the BrahMos is set to get cheaper is a huge development taking place in terms of the defense sector. Now, joining me on the telecast is my colleague Pragati Tripathi. Pragati, what exactly are the developments in terms of this huge development in terms of BrahMos cost expected to fall by 20%, which is a lot cheaper? What does exactly this signify?
Well, BrahMos Aerospace Chief Dr. Jaipreet Joshi has confirmed that the unit cost of the missile is expected to decline by nearly 20% over the next 18 to 24 months. The reduction will be driven by a higher indigenous content, value engineering and lower dependence on imported Russian components. Recent efforts have already resulted in substantial savings in raw materials and manufacturing costs, with Indian component cost projects to fall further in coming years. And if I tell you, BrahMos missile is one of the world's fastest operational supersonic cruise missiles, capable of traveling at nearly 3 times the speed of the sound. Developed jointly by India and Russia, it has become a cornerstone of India's precision strike capability across Army, Navy and Air Force. Over the years, India has steadily increased indigenous manufacturing in the program, replacing several imported subsystems with locally developed technology. And if the expected cost reduction carries major strategic implications. If I tell you, lower production cost will allow India to procure large number of missiles while also making BrahMos more attractive to foreign buyers. The Philippines has already inducted the system, while export negotiations with Vietnam are reportedly in the final stage. The sources have already confirmed that Vietnam would be buying BrahMos from India. Several other countries are also in the discussion with India for potential acquisitions. So if we talk about defense experts also, they have also said the move aligns perfectly with India's Atmanirbhar Bharat vision, reducing dependence on foreign suppliers while enhancing export competitiveness. As indigenous content rises and production expands, BrahMos is expected to emerge as an even stronger symbol for India's growing defense manufacturing capabilities and strategic influence on the global stage.
All right, Pragati, stay on with me. I also have with me Major General Sudhakarji, Senior Geopolitical and Defense Expert. Major General Sudhakarji, good morning to you. And how do you view these developments that are taking place in terms of BrahMos that is set to get cheaper? What does this mean for India's export and obviously the Atmanirbhar push in terms of the defense sector as well?
Yeah, morning, Ria. Good morning to you. Thank you for inviting me for your morning show. Look, there are 3-4 things which are happening. You see, some things are related to global level, certain things are happening at the intermediate or the regional level, and certain things are happening at the national level. Globally, we have our supply chain has integrated into the global arms market. That is a very significant milestone which is happening. You see, producing a product in the country and not getting integrated into the global supply chain, meaning there is a demand and there is a supply. Okay, and it started with Philippines. Now Indonesia is going to ask for it. Vietnam is also almost, it is very close to being signed, and demand is going to expected any time. In Middle East countries are going to start demanding this. So as countries in Africa. And don't be surprised if you start having demands from European countries as well. So therefore, integration with the supply chain ecosystem of at the global level is a very important part that must be acknowledged and respected by one and all. Second thing that is happening is at the regional level, there is a very, I would say, very pronounced and prominent recognition of India's defense capability having taken a quantum jump in terms of technology, in terms of the human resource, in terms of the cerebral acumen of our people, in terms of the soldier, and we have been able to present our enhanced capability in a significant manner, not only by Operation Sindhu, nor by that one-liner, an act of terror would be an act of war, or to be treated as an act of war, not by that Indus Water Treaty having been revoked or having been held in abeyance, but the assertion that India is coming out with. So India has been very objective, very, very precise at the regional level. There is a demand not only for the BrahMos you're talking of. Soon the BrahMos hypersonic missiles are going to be deployed. And now from BrahMos, the Pinakas are already there in Armenia. The artillery guns, Bharat Forge, our own private industry is producing, those guns are being deployed there. Dhanush is being actually sold to the overseas country. So likewise, there is an awareness. India is turning out to be, you see, South Korea, once upon a time, if you take that example, they used to import their defense products. Now South Korea is one of the countries which is exporting everything from a needle to a radar to a gun, missiles, ammunition. So India is on a trajectory which is far better and greater than that of South Korea or countries alike, because we are looking at things in a de novo manner. When I say de novo, the architecture of air defense which prevented the onslaught of the drones and the missiles from Pakistan side during Operation Sindoor is a classic example of how India has made a significant jump to a significant platform in such a short time with regard to usage and the utilization of artificial intelligence. One always thought that we are far, far behind. There are people from outside who are coming and complimenting our political leadership that India in such a short time you have taken a quantum jump. Look at the global capability centers. Look at the graphics processing units. Look at yours is the third largest. India is the third largest as far as the startups are concerned. The unicorns are more than 138. You see, such like things. There is such a stride and I would say a jump that India has made in past nearly 2 to 3 years' time. It's something unbelievable. And third and most important thing is the national level. National level, it is not only Chandrayaan, Suryayaan, any other issue. There is a awareness because our culture is such that people always talk about becoming a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer. Nobody spoke about becoming a scientist. The option of choosing to take a science subject in the school and college days was to be a very far-fetched kind of a trip. Now look at the way the STEM, there is an awareness among the parents. The children also want to, there is a scientific orientation and people want to do the STEM subjects. They want to actually come up to a platform where they can contribute significantly towards the growth story of India under the brand name of Make in India and Make for the World. Also, Atmanirbhar Bharat that started sometime in 2020 after the pandemic. These are not only hearsay, these are not only the headlines that we keep reading on the newspaper. This is factually happening on the ground. Look at the kind of the export we have made in past 10 odd years. In 2014 or 13, it used to be 600-700 crores. Now it is gone beyond. It is almost touching. It is 32 to 33% more than that we had actually achieved in 2013. So, and it's going by leaps and bounds. You will have far too many countries, a large number of countries, latching onto India, not only for BrahMos, but for other products as well.
All right, Major General Sudhakarji, thank you so much for joining me on the telecast. And obviously, that's a huge development for India in terms of the defense boost, not just when we're talking about indigenous push, the Atmanirbhar push, but also globally as well. But shifting our focus to some news coming in from New Delhi.